All right, let's all just settle in right where we are, whether you are in a familiar space or like me in a new space tonight. For these few minutes, just feel the familiarity of showing up for your meditation time and let that be the familiar space for you. And once you kind of get settled in physically where you are, I would invite you just to close your eyes gently. And as the eyes close, just start to soften the muscles in your face, in your jaw, across your forehead, over your shoulders. And as you soften everything from head down, notice how everything just starts to follow. The breath gets a little easier, the chest doesn't feel as heavy, and everything below starts to fall into place little by little. All because you make a choice to gently close your eyes and relax your jaw and soften the muscles in your face. So tonight, let's just spend a few minutes before we get started just really anchoring ourselves to this present moment. Whatever you have encountered today, expected or not, whatever you would put on the list of the positives and the list of the negatives, let's just arrive to this moment and let all of that go. That is the most beautiful thing about our meditation practice, is all that stuff is done. And now we have this moment. And once we exhale, we'll breathe in and we'll have the next moment. And so I would invite you, and I'm going to do it myself, just kind of bask in this moment and the amazingness that it is. The chance to be here, breathing, alive. And as you're settling in just a little more, we've been talking or sharing the last few times about this idea of our purpose. And so I want to kind of close this out tonight. And whether you've been here or not does not matter. But I've just really been sitting with this idea of each of us understanding our individual purpose so that we as humanity can figure out our collective purpose. And so what our purpose does is it gives us direction. It gives us really healthy and good boundaries for things that don't belong in our path. It gives us clarity. And once you start to find the clarity, it also gives you comfort. But in order to really understand our purpose, our contribution to the world, we have to spend moments of quiet, of stillness, of just being. Because if all we're ever doing is being out in the world and going and doing, we're going to let the world ultimately decide our purpose. And so as we come together for these minutes that we spend each time that we show up, hopefully our purpose will get a little clearer. And so there's a word in Sanskrit that we use often in yoga, especially with our breath. It's called vritti. And one of the aphorisms that has guided our whole yoga practice for thousands of years, it says in Sanskrit, yoga sita vritti nirodha. And what that means when we translate it is yoga calms the fluctuations of my mind. And I know that you have each felt that at different times when you show up and you really turn your focus inward to yourself and you pay attention to your body. The fluctuations in your mind are calmed. They don't always stop completely. It's not perfect, but they do calm down. And so that word vritti, fluctuation, it can also be used to talk about our breath. And there's a way of breathing in the yogic tradition called samavritti, which is same fluctuation, balanced breathing. And so I want to take us through these questions about our purpose tonight, but I want to do it with balance in our breath and ultimately balance between our mind and our heart. And so we'll use the breath as a tool. And then we're going to sit with these questions to help us figure out what is our contribution to this world supposed to be. And it doesn't mean that when our minutes are up and we say namaste and we go on about our way that we'll all have a clear understanding of it. But what we will have is it'll be a little less cloudy, a little less muddy and confused. And each time you keep showing up, the cloudiness gets less. Until all of a sudden you catch a glimpse, and the next time another glimpse. And then all of a sudden, you are aware of what your contribution is to this world. And so let's just start with some breath. And the way the Sum of Riti works is we breathe in for a count and we breathe out for a count. And I'm going to help guide us. I'm going to count it for you and for myself. And what I'd ask you to do is just follow along with me. And while I'm counting our inhale, you breathe in as fully as you can. And then when I count down the exhale, don't just let it all out in one quick breath. Count it down as well and let it go at the same rate. And so before we do that, let's just notice physically, how do you feel? Where is your tension sitting? Where do you feel some heaviness? Where do you maybe feel like some parts are not working together very well? And let's just see across these few cycles of breath if things can get a little bit better. And so I would invite you to either sit up really tall, or if you're lying down, just really stretch out long so your spine, your chest, everything can really feel it as we breathe. And after we do a few rounds, I'm going to pose one of those questions about our purpose, and then we're going to just sit with it. And then we're going to breathe again. And I'm going to pose another question, and we're going to sit with it. And then we're going to breathe again. And we'll see if the cloudiness will start to fade just a little bit. So as you sit nice and tall, or you lay nice and long and straight, let's breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And then just let the breath just move throughout your body. And the question that I want us to sit with right now is, what do I care about most? Not about who, but what? What do I care about most? And when we ask this question, our job tonight is not to answer it. It is just to ask and then be still with the question. Let the balance of the breath start to bring balance between the mind and the heart. And let's just sit for the next moment with the question of, what do I care about? And then we're going to bring a little more balance. And so again, either sitting up nice and tall or lying nice and long and straight. Let's breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And then just be with the balance between the two parts of your breath. And let's just sit with this question that says, what brings me so much joy that when I'm engaged in it, I lose track of time? What brings me so much joy that when I'm engaged with it, I lose track of time? And again, don't try to answer it. Don't let your thinking mind jump in. Just let yourself be open and imagine and see what comes. regaining our straight posture or lengthening as we're lying down. Let's breathe together again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 And with the question of the thing that we care about or what we care about the most, and what is it that brings us so much joy that when we engage in it, we lose track of time, leads us to our last question that we've sat with for some of us now a few days, and for some of you, this will be the first time to ask the question. And it is, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? How am I, the one and only me, meant to contribute to this world? What is my purpose? And again, try not to let your thinking mind jump in and start answering the question. Just sit with it and be. And be okay with not knowing exactly what it is in this moment. And as you continue just to be in your space, and I'm in my space, I want to remind you, our thinking mind likes to kick in. It likes to answer the questions. It likes to be efficient. It likes to know. But the whole purpose of this Samavriti, this balanced breath, is so that we can tell our mind we need it to be in balance with our heart, with our spirit. So that as we start to catch a glimpse of what our purpose, our contribution is, we feel the alignment between the thinking mind and the heart mind. They don't act separately. They're meant to be one. But again, we've been conditioned, most of it by the world, to let the thinking mind just do all the work, make all the decisions, have all the knowledge. And the heart mind of us gets left behind. But it's in moments like this where we stop and we pause and we find stillness that clarity will begin to come. Yoga Sita Vritti Nirodha. Yoga calms the fluctuations of my mind. And Samavriti, my breath, can bring equal fluctuations so that I find balance between not just the inhale and the exhale, but the thinking mind and the heart mind. That is when you'll discover your purpose. It's not a logical question you're going to answer. You're going to find it through the balance of the heart and the mind together. So before we get ready to close our time, let's just sit. And I'm not going to count, but I would invite you, whatever your count is to yourself, it could be inhaling 2 and exhaling 2. It could be inhaling 6, exhaling 6. But just bring yourself a little more balance with the breath so that as we close our time, we close it in balance. There are 8 billion people on this planet, and each of them has a unique purpose, a unique contribution. And for each one of you that are hearing these words right now, the same is true. We may not know exactly what it is today, in this moment, but the important thing is that we're beginning to ask the question. So remember your breath, remember your balance, and then keep asking the question of, what do I care deeply about? What brings me so much joy that when I'm engaged in it, I lose track of time? And then, what's my purpose? Keep asking the questions. Clarity will come. Namaste.